Hi, I'm Jeremy Broyles, author of the novel Flatwater, available through the Mint Hill Books in print from Main Street Rag. Flatwater is the story of siblings, surfing, and sharks, and what happens when those things come together both in the water and out of it. The novel follows protagonist Monty Marinis, who at the age of 15 lost his beloved older brother to a freak shark incident. After that, Monty abandons everything that he loves. That includes the coast, the ocean, surfing, and his family. At the age of 18, he moves away to the middle of the country because there's no sharks in Nebraska. It's not until years later that he is called back by his younger sister and last living sibling because she's getting married, and it's only then that he feels any obligation to return. But it's messy. With your permission, I'd like to read just a little bit of it. What I'm going to read for you comes from the very first chapter in the novel. In this scene, Monty and his wife Charlotte are making the long drive from their home in Nebraska to Flatwater, California. We find them at a stopover in Flagstaff, Arizona, where they're getting some breakfast. But all that trauma and all that grief that Monty has tried to run away from, to hide from, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's been waiting for him the whole time. And the closer he gets to California, the more serious the consequences of all that he has tried to suppress becomes. Monty Marinis sat behind his cooling cheddar and turkey sausage omelet, while in the booth to his right, a man with the head of a mako shark forked pieces of meat into a toothy mouth. The tip of the snout, where underneath ran the sophisticated ampullae of Lorenzini, designed through eons of evolution to detect subtle electromagnetic trembling of potential prey items, dipped with the unnatural effort of chewing. Drops of salt water splashed to the plate below to drown the rest of the meal. I know, I think it's gross too, Charlotte said from her side of the table. What? Steak and eggs for breakfast, she said, jerking a thumb toward the mako man. You look seasick watching him eat. What's the expression? Green behind the gills. Isurus oxyrhynchus, mako shark. Confirmed species of attack in September of 1974 in the Red Sea that totaled 12 separate bites and amputated the victim's left arm. Monty had clocked him the moment their server led the way into the dining area. Monty could not will her to the corner booth, so he'd kept a close eye on the mako man instead. It was far from ideal, but it was better than not being able to see it at all. Yeah, Monty said it. That's the one. Do you like how nautical I'm getting? I'm going to fit it right in out in California. You see this? She held up a piece of toast. It looks like I'm holding this with my left hand, but I'm not. It's my starboard hand. She said it like a secret through her smile, but I'm actually port-handed. The fingers on her right hand wiggled with flair. Switch those around, Monty said. My hands? Left is port, right is starboard. Are you sure? Charlotte asked. Her smile had not relaxed. Of the two of us at this table, who is from California, a state with hundreds of miles of coastline, and who is from Nebraska, a state with 0 miles of coastline? Because I say we trust the word of an ocean goer over that of the land lover. She laughed and at last won him over. He smiled in return. It's easy, he said. Port has 4 letters. So does left. Port, left. Starboard, right. Her chirpy voice cut through the cafe and earned them several stares. Even the mako man wrenched his sharky head to the left, a move that should have been impossible given its physiology. See, I'm downright oceanic now. Charlotte returned to her egg-white scramble using her starboard hand, and the shark in the adjacent booth returned to its steak. Monty tried. He cut a reasonable bite-sized portion from the omelet and skewered the piece onto the tines of his fork, but he could not bring himself to put the food in his mouth. He was afraid it would taste like blood gone rich with electric metal that would shock his molars as he chewed. He'd only had a handful of episodes in the last several years, and none for better than 6 months now, but they never went away. They were waves. Sometimes they came in sets, like the world shook around its speared axis, sending ripples to the coasts of every continent. Sometimes they came miles apart, their languishing arrival just enough to spoil the hope that they were gone for good. But they were waves, so they were never finished. Each episode brought the shark heads no therapist could counsel away despite 10 years of trying. It brought the taste of blood. It brought the thinning panic that grew from low in his soured stomach. It brought the memory of Max like water on the brain that Monty could not shake out of his clogged ears. Monty, are you all right? Charlotte asked. But this was a secret he could not share. His older brother had been killed by a shark while surfing at Flatwater Beach almost 10 years ago. This he had told her. The innumerable hours he'd spent researching shark attacks the world over, the studying he'd done since he was 15 of the anatomy of sharks and the anatomy of human beings and the consequences of the two anatomies coming together, the science he'd learned, the statistics he'd memorized, the shark-headed abominations that swam into his life from time to time no matter how far from the water he ran. She knew none of this. He'd never told her, or his mother, or his sister, or any of his therapists. This was his secret, and he meant to keep it. "You know how I am," he said to his wife. "Breakfast doesn't always agree with me. The place we're staying tonight is only an hour or so away. We could get you something there once we get into town." "That's all right. There's no reason this should go to waste." He ate that first bite and then all the rest afterwards until his breakfast was done. It was like chewing rubberized aluminum. He needed the help of 3 glasses of water to get through the omelet. All the while, the mako cut through its steak at a measured pace lacking even a hint of frenzy. Not for the first time, Monty wondered what feeding must be like for sharks. Could they taste the difference between the swimming things they had evolved to eat and those they hadn't? When a shark put its mouth on something and the teeth punctured through, what was it that told it either to let go or bite again for a better grip? And that's how the novel starts. It's called Flatwater, and I'm hoping that you have the chance to order. I'm hoping you have the chance to read, and I genuinely hope you enjoy it. Thank you.